All right, ladies and gentlemen, it is Tree Dog Tuesday. We got a good one for you here today. Mr. Eddie Green and Mr. Zac Boring coming off a huge win over here in LaPlata, Missouri, with the Blue Dog, which, as anybody knows, I'm always interested in. And so we've got Eddie here to tell us a little bit about the dog, Zac here to tell us a little bit about the hunt, and it was quite the wild weekend, wasn't it, Zac?
It was, that's for sure.
Eddie, I'm going to go ahead and get started with you. Tell me about Zeke, because up until he tried to chew my arm off up in Oklahoma with
Yeah,
Dalton Cummings handling him, I never knew anything
yeah,
about the dog. So give us a little background on
right.
Zeke.
Well, I was visiting with a real good friend of mine, Cheyenne Cummings, one day, and we're always talking dogs, where they're at for sale and everything. And he said, "Hey, a friend of mine, Ronnie Smith's got a blue dog. He said you need to check him out." And I happened to be guiding a cast out of a hunt they were having at downstream, and I went over to Ronnie's the next morning to look at the dog, and literally walking up to the kennel. As soon as I laid eyes on him, I said, "I'm gonna buy that dog."
Yeah,
And I didn't even know what he wanted for him or anything else. And went up there, and Ronnie come out of the house. I got talking to him, and he priced the dog to me, and I bought him. He was just turning 2 years old at that
yeah.
time.
How old is he now, Eddie?
He's 6.
He's 6.
Yeah.
So we all know Cheyenne, me, you, Zac. Cheyenne's a good friend to everybody.
Right.
If there was one person I would buy off a dog, or one person's word I would buy a dog off of, it would probably be Cheyenne. I'm guessing you were thinking the same thing.
Oh, you can buy one over the phone with him. Yeah.
Right,
Yeah.
right.
Yeah. I mean, and Ronnie had he just bought the dog from a young man in Illinois just a few weeks prior to that.
Yeah.
So, but as you know, they're Walker dog guys, and
Yep, yep.
I'm sure they bought him to sell. But yeah, anytime Shy tells me about one, I try and get on it.
Yeah, definitely. So what did you think of Zeke when you first started hunting him?
Well, like I said, he was just started. A 14-year-old kid had him in Illinois, and the very first night I took him, he treated entry, and I walked by 30 yards and recut him, and he kind of stood there and looked at me, and
Yeah.
I thought, oh man. And anyhow, I walked another 30 yards, recut me, and stood there and looked at me, and I called that kid the next day and asked him about a recut on the dog, and he said, "Mr. Green, what are you talking about recut?" He said, "I've never recut that dog in his life." And he let him run deer, he let him tree possum,
Yeah.
but he tree a coon, and I just literally I mean, if anyone knows me, I can tell you, I just literally hunted the wheels off that dog, and he just got better and better and better.
Yeah. When did you start putting him in some hunts?
He was probably 2.5 when I put him in his first UKC hunt.
Yeah.
And really, he was a pretty easy dog to finish. I don't know exactly how many casts it was, but it wasn't many.
Has he been? I mean, once you got him over that first stretch, not recasting, being a little trashy, just coming from a pleasure hunter, because we all know it takes a little bit to get a dog from the hands of a pleasure hunter to get it prepared for competition. And once you got him prepared,
Right.
has he been pretty consistent this whole time?
He's the most consistent dog I've ever owned, and I think if you talk to the Cheyenne Cummings and people like that of the world, the Ryan Crosens and stuff,
Yeah.
they'll tell you he's very consistent.
Yeah.
The dog's going to give you a chance to win. He's been in truck hunts, he's been in bigger PKC hunts. We've just been that one cast or that one coon away,
Right. Right.
of winning. But he's very, very consistent. About the same dog every night. He's like any of them, he'll mess up too. But,
Yeah. What I noticed out of him this weekend, and Zac can attest, Zac, how many trees did you count the total trees that dog made during this hunt over here at LaPlata? Because all I know is
I'm
the two
thinking,
casts I had him on.
Yeah, and we pulled him off of what, six or seven trees
Yeah.
in those 2 rounds.
7, I
think
believe,
six
that I
trees.
judged him on.
Yeah, and every time he had a coon.
Right. Was he like that in the early rounds too?
So Wednesday night, like I mean, them winds,
Yeah.
we had 20, 40 mile an hour wind gusts. It was rough night hunting. He ended up treating a coon. I drew the red dog. That Wes Hamilton was hunting, won
Yep.
a truck with that
Yep.
Terry owns now. She ended up treating 2 coons. He treated a coon in the den.
Right.
So he was looking good that night, just not good enough. Um, I ended up drawing Wes Hamilton Thursday night early, and he made one tree had a coon in it.
Yeah.
It was just another rough night. I mean, some of them dogs are treeing slicks, and he kind of just stayed by himself and ended up getting a coon treed.
Yeah. And Eddie, has accuracy ever been a problem for the dog? Because what he struck me at is extremely accurate, especially because I hunted him twice in the same woods. These are the only 2 hours, or I guess 3 hours. Well, 2.5 hours. What do we hunt? 90 minutes one night, and then you had them all. Everybody withdrew after an hour the next, right, Zach?
Yeah,
So
we did 90 minutes the first night, and then I think we had like 40 something, 45, 47 minutes left in the hunt.
So I haven't even hunted with the dog for 3 hours yet. So, but
Right.
from what I've seen of him, he's pretty accurate.
Yeah, he's. We had the fall roundup here in Miami, and in 4 nights, 2 of them was hour hunts. He made 13 trees. All had coon in, but 1 slick and 1 den.
Yeah.
And his slick was about as bad a slick as you could look at. But
Yeah.
he's super accurate dog. He's a dog that'll make you use up the whole shining time looking for one.
And he's been like that ever since you got him.
Ever since I got him, yep. I've never had a slick tree issue with him at all.
Yeah. What's he out of even, Eddie? I never have even asked.
Well, he it's kind of a secret. No one knows about him really, Josh,
Yeah.
but he's of a dog called Lonesome 2 that John Steeper owns, which is hammer bred dog and jet. And out of a female, Thunder Blue Willow, I believe is her name, which is Smoky River bred female.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm familiar with Steber's dogs. You know, Steber guides me a lot out there and at Super Stakes and World Hunt and all that stuff. And when we're at the Muddy or whatever, it seems like. And Steber, he beat me last year at Super Stakes or 2 years ago. He's usually packing a pretty good coon dog.
Yeah, he always packs a pretty nice dog.
Yeah. And so he's out of Steber's Lonesome 2 dog, and is how he hunts a trait of those dogs? I mean, is that the kind of style of dog they usually are, or is he just an anomaly?
No. I would say not the dogs I've hunted with. I hunt with Lonesome. I've hunted with his dogs he has now and stuff. But I mean, as Zach can tell you, and Dalton Cummings can tell you, I mean, Zeke can tree a coon at 100 yards and he can be 1.8.
Yeah.
Just, I mean, he's a lot wider, bigger hunter, I would say.
And you know, because I don't want to knock the entire breed, because I love Blueticks, and I always have, and I've had a good one. I've drawn good ones and stuff, but the knock on them is not enough hustle, not enough go. That's usually, you know, especially you get into a late round or something like that. That's usually the problem with them, and that's not a problem for him. I don't take it.
Oh no, heavens no. Tyler Compton and I, we were hunting probably 2 months ago, and he jokingly said, you know, no one's ever going to breed to this dog. And I said, oh, I know that. And he said, well, you know why? And I said, no, he said, he goes too hard. You know, he said he's walked our guts out. But we went one night with Jenna when Tyler had the Jenna dog, and we treated 11 singles, and I think shortest walk we had is about 800 yards.
Yeah.
You know, they're just all over the country. But.
Well, let's go through the Thursday night late round, Zach, that I was on with you. First of all, go ahead and tell everybody else that from start to finish, because you're looking at your Garmin. You know what the dog's doing more than I do. I'm judging the cast. You know, all I can tell is what I think what the dog did. But how was he moving around, and how did he go about winning that cast?
He was moving around pretty good. That hunting up there, it's real good hunting, you know, kind of more strip timber, hunting them crop fields like that. He was kind of staying on the edge a little bit, looking for one. And I think what he ended up treating 3 coons that night.
Yeah, I think so.
And once he kind of got in that patch of woods where he was at, I don't think he went over 500 yards from each tree.
Yeah. No,
he just stayed in that patch. Looked good. I mean, just treeing coons, but that's one thing I like about the dog is you can kind of put him in a patch like that, and he can tree coons while, well, Bobby's dog, for instance, he was half a mile through there. And definitely nothing wrong with that. I've seen Zeke do the same thing, but I think that's where Zeke kind of stands out a little bit from the blue dogs, especially the ones I've hunted. He can tree 3 coons right there in an hour in the same patch of woods, and he can do like what he did Saturday night, tree a few right here, and then blow the country a little bit and get another coon treed.
Yeah, and see, that's what I was going to kind of lead into. That was a good segue into what I was going to ask Eddie is, you say he goes hard and he moves around good, and I've no doubt he does. But where I turned him loose, the last weekend, thick coons, one really cold night. How cold was it on that Thursday night, Zach? 14 degrees?
I think it was below 15. I know for sure. It was a cold sucker.
Yeah, and I mean, the coons weren't moving great, but there's a lot of coons. And so the dog really didn't have to blow out, and he didn't. And that's what got him a win. But you're saying in them situations, and it's like Zach said, that's kind of what he did on Saturday. But in them situations where he needs to really move out of there, he does a pretty good job of it.
Yeah, he does do that. There's a pleasure hunter here around the house that's hunting with him. I had Zeke at the house, probably 3 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
And the guy was kind of giving me a little bit of a hard time for hunting a blue dog,
Yeah.
like how we always do. We turned the dog loose, and he's 7/10 treated in about 10 minutes with a coon.
Yeah.
We go in there, and we're getting shot at because I'm on a place I don't have permission from now. Hey, you guys told me, he goes, I won't ever hunt with that dog. He goes, that son of a gun hunts too hard.
Yeah. But
And he does. I mean, he can move around really good for a blue dog, especially.
But Eddie, he's hunting hard, but he's not skipping over coons. It don't look like.
I've never, and I'm sure he's like all of them. He can miss some, but I've never been in a hunt where dogs just treat coon behind him.
Right.
He's I've seen, but normally the dog's going to get treed 400 or 500 yards first, and then go out there and get one treat. Pleasure hunting the dog. You know.
Yep.
But where I hunt down here in northeast Oklahoma, we got a lot of coon in some places. We don't have very many in other places.
Right.
But the dog, I will say one thing about it: the dog is going to get treated somewhere.
Yeah.
Every time you cast him.
And I wouldn't call him a great tree dog, but he's a good tree dog. He's not just going to absolutely blow the woods up. But Zach, would I stop and put the two on him once?
Yeah, once, twice. That's
Yeah.
really me about the only. I like a real just nice, steady chop tree dog, and he's not that, but he's not a bad tree dog at all by no means.
No, I wouldn't call him bad tree. He's got a good carrying mouth too. It's another mouth that doesn't sound like you should be able to hear it a long ways away, but it seems like you can hear it a long ways away.
Yeah, correct.
Well, I think Josh, when we pulled off of Bobby's first tree, I think he was half a mile or so, and we could hear him every breath right there.
Yeah, no, we could hear him clear as a bell. And Thumper's got a good carrying mouth. Him and Thumper were not far apart, and you could hear them both just about the same.
Oh, yeah.
So, Zach, I want to go with you, or go through the Saturday cast with you. Or actually, let's start with the Thursday cast in the late round, because that was a little bit more of a nail biter. And
it was.
What were you thinking? Because we've got some dogs that have drawn some minus. We're treeing coons everywhere. You've got two coons treed, and the only way they can win at the end of that cast is if you make a mistake. And so what were you thinking, I know you didn't want to walk the Thumper's tree very hard. you wanted to come off that tree without a stationary being applied. But
I did. I was starting to get a little nervous there when we pulled off of Bobby's tree. That's why I kept trying to ask you, do you hear Zeke? I was wanting to, if they were together by some chance, I was wanting to get first tree.
Right.
Because I knew I had to have that first tree on Thumper.
Yep.
And then when we go walking across that field and we tell them they were a difference, I was like, okay, that eases up the tension a little bit.
Yep.
But because, like Eddie said, Zeke, knock on wood, that dog usually doesn't miss a whole lot. So I was feeling pretty confident in my tree. I knew Thumper would probably have a coon too, just before we were hunting at the coons we were treeing. But I really got lucky there on that break when the two caught Thumper.
Yeah.
I kind of thought there, I was like, sweet, I've got it in the bag. But then I knew as soon as we pulled off Thumper's tree, he had a coon. I was like, son of a gun, I did not want it. Because I think we had, 6 or 7 minutes left in the hunt.
I believe there's about 7 minutes and 30 seconds after I walked Thumper's minute. And
Yeah,
there was
oh,
it was just enough time to put a stationary on you.
it was. I was son of a gun. It was. I know the dog I'm hunting. I know how accurate he is. I know how he's been looking, but you still just got that thought in the back of your mind. They're all dogs. They can all make mistakes.
Mm-hmm.
As soon as Bobby told me, "Here it is," I was, "Oh, thank goodness."
So that gets you into Saturday and makes you $5,000. That puts $5,000 on the dog right there. That doubling up on that format, which is a good format, puts the $5,000 on it. And Eddie, is that something? Because when you go into hunts, everybody wants to win them all. You want to win the whole thing. You want to make the finals. You want to get the big check. But
Right.
was doubling up your main goal? Going into
Yeah.
that.
Yes, sir. I told Zach, I said, I'd like to go up there and double up, get our entry back, and put some money on the dog. I think he had $8,670 won
Yeah.
before that night, and of course, my goal was to make him a platinum champion, and if we could, get the big hit, we would. If not, we'd try it again.
Yeah.
But,
What was that phone call like when Zach told you and said you doubled up? Called you and said you guys had doubled up.
well, he called. Of course, I was out pleasure hunting. He called me, and it wasn't real late, and I'm thinking to myself, well, no, let me back up a little bit. He sent me a text that I didn't get,
Mm-hmm.
and said something to the fact, that we doubled up, I had 5,000 to him, and anyhow, as I answered my phone, I saw a text, and anyhow, he told me, and I was excited. I'll be honest with you. I said, I haven't been in a lot of these big hunts, and I'm a nobody, and
Yeah.
my main goal is go up there and. The next day you get your phone ring, the Ryan Crosons of the world, the Cheyennes are calling,
Yeah.
Little George and all them, and it makes you feel pretty good.
Yeah. Well, I know Zach was pretty excited. I could see it whenever we found that last coon.
Mhm.
And
Right,
then
right.
we go into Saturday night, and I get the privilege to judge him again, and he's got a heck of a cast. I had judged
Mm-hmm.
Jack Bingham when he got in the night before on Friday night, and that little dog looked good. I had judged Joe when she had got in on that really windy, crazy night. She managed to tree a coon in that miserable stuff. It was 13, 14 degrees with a 40-mile-an-hour wind on Wednesday, and she gets in there and trees a coon. She's a nice dog, and I've hunted with Molly a lot of times, and these were all three
Mm-hmm.
dogs, and I knew the woods we were going to, and these were all three dogs I knew would stay in pocket and tree coons as they come to them. And so
Right.
I was kind of excited to have this cast, and it was, to be honest, I knew it was going to be a tough cast to win, but I seen what Zeke had done in those woods 2 nights before that. Zach, what were you thinking whenever they said we were going to the same woods?
I was happy. I was hoping to goodness we were going to them woods. Like I said, Zeke looked real good there, and I mean that wasn't an easy cast to win.
Yeah,
I mean, you
no.
got Jack Bingham that's done his fair share of winning. Robert Burns, he's done the same, and so has Mike Fields. I mean, these all three were handlers that they've been around for a minute or two, and they've won a thing or two.
Yeah. What do you think? Tell me about that cast, because it was pretty, it looks lopsided, on the scorecard when it's done, but the first 45 minutes of that, 35, 40 minutes of that was pretty hectic, and it was pretty tight.
It was getting there. I kind of felt a little bit better when Jersey treed that second flick, and he was coming out of there, and he withdrew. That eased up things a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
Zeke and Mike Fields' dog and Molly dog treed that coon right out of the truck, and Burns took a little bit of minus, so I was still feeling a little bit. I was still feeling a little good, but I knew Mike Fields is somebody you don't really want to knock out that early either.
Yeah.
We had plenty of time to hunt.
Well, you got to think, what were you thinking when Molly made that second tree? Well, because she missed, it was a big den, and it probably had a coon in it, but there's another coon that we had already seen sitting there in that direction. And so you got to figure when you're going to Zeke's second coon, Molly probably has one there too.
I was just begging for Zeke to have one right there. I'm glad he did.
Yeah. And what's that feeling like whenever you walk over that hill? It's just me and Molly's leash locked. Robert's done withdrawn. Jack's done withdrawn. And Mike even told me as we was walking to you, he said, if this blue dog's got another coon, there ain't no sense of me turning loose no more, And so,
was sweating bullets. I think my wife has got a 10-page text message I sent her of everything going on. I sent her a text. I won't forget it. I said, I think I've got a $20,000 coon in this tree, but I don't know. There's a lot of time left.
Yep.
And then I seen two lights. I was like, please, Lord, let me know there's only two of them. I kept looking around for Burns for a little bit. Just seen you and Mike. I said, thank goodness. And then as soon as you guys said it was slick, I was like, oh my god, thank you.
What Ed? What was that phone call like? Because I know it wasn't no more than him and Mike shook hands that Zach was on the phone.
Oh yeah, yeah. Well, I was pleasure hunting again. I was walking back to my side by side, and my phone rang, and this sounds crazy, but I didn't want to answer it. It was still early,
Right.
and I'm thinking, oh man, something's happened, and he, got scratched or something. I don't know, but anyhow, I answered it, and I had to sit down and tailgate my side by side. I was about to fall over. I mean, it's I can't describe how huge of a win it is for me, and especially like we've all. I mean, being a blue dog,
Yep.
that makes it even special.
I know I was really happy, and that's one part of me judging when I get to see these guys, because and not no knock on these guys when it's John Strickland, Michael Ward, Dual Murphy, and Dustin Weed in the finals of a hunt like this. Well, they've won 2 or 3 of them already this year.
Right.
When I see a local guy like you that puts up the money and sends it to a good guy like Zach and takes a dog up there that most people think, if we were betting odds on who's going to be in the final 3, Zeke's probably about a 500 to 1 or 500 to 1 underdog. At the beginning of this cast, and because not that it's a knock against the dog, but it's just nobody knows him. Nobody knows where he come from unless you're friends with Cheyenne and Dalton and you and then Zach and all that. So I love seeing that happen, and I just think that is part of what makes this sport so awesome. That here's Eddie down there pleasure hunting, working on the next one while his dog's up there making platinum champion and winning a big old $20,000 check.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, like I said, I go on for days what it meant to me. But when you can take a dog, and I didn't raise him from a puppy, but basically raise a dog and put all the time into it.
Yep.
I was joking with my wife on Sunday. I said, I think I made about $1 a minute if I figured up that 20,000.
That's right.
At the time that I've spent, in the woods with that dog. And I don't know. I told Zach, I tell everybody, I still like to pleasure hunt. I just assume pleasure hunt than anything, but I just been blessed. I've had the opportunity to have guys like Zach and Hunter Chancellor and Dalton Cummings that
Yep.
when I can't get away, they'll take him and hunt him.
Right. What are your plans for Zeke in the future?
Well, God only knows, but I'd like to put him in some pro sport hunts,
Yep.
truck hunts. He was one cast away getting in the finals at Claremore and Dalton hunting that night.
Yep.
Well, you were down there.
Yep.
And, maybe, go to a couple more $2,500 PKC hunts. But, of course, I'm run for the TOC.
Yep.
Basically, if I can't get away, whatever Zach wants to go to, I mean, he's welcome to take him.
Yep.
And I don't, I can only say I don't trust that dog with very many people, but because we all know anytime you unsnap him, something can happen.
That's right. Zach, what about you? You looking forward to handling Zeke in the future?
I am looking forward to that. I mean, I can't say enough good about the dog. It's one thing to go to these hunts and kind of get in or something, but it's a whole nother experience to be able to win $20,000. Kind of like I said, Weed and John Strickland, all them guys, they kind of do it all the time, so it's not too big of a rush for them. But for me, I mean, that was my first ever big win.
Yeah.
I've got the Floyd dog of Perry Bennett's in at some truck hunts, and I put 5,000 at the Quapaw hunt, stuff like that. But for the first time to win 20,000, that was pretty special to me. Yeah, I'm hoping. I like to get him in at some truck hunts and just see what Zeke can do there.
Yep.
See if we can win a truck with him or something.
Eddie, what about breeding Zeke in the future?
I bred him to 2 of my females, and Trey Melton bred his Josie female to him. He's the only outside person that's bred to him. And, I want to breed some females, but I'm in no hurry.
Yeah.
I have him collected
Good.
down in Spiro, Oklahoma, and probably more of the future, And he, and I say this, I'm being serious. It'll probably be a deal or end up like Big Country and breed as many Walker females as he does Blue Dogs.
Yeah. No,
And
I can see that.
I have a lot of respect for John Strickland. I don't know him from Adam other than hi, John, how are you? And I followed that Big Country journey with him. And I mean, I'm one of those Bluetick guys that I was ecstatic for him every time I'd read he'd win somewhere, And it was great for the breed. And to this day, I feel like John Strickland put us on the map,
Yeah.
And he's not a Bluetick guy at all.
Well, I've hunted. Trying to think of the blue dogs I've hunted with. I've hunted with some real good ones. Of course, Big Country's one of them. Champ was a very good dog the nights I've hunted with him. Of course, even down there in Oklahoma, you got Trevin and Trey, hunting old Kevin Rash's stuff. Some very good dogs there with Crowder and everything. Crowder looked good the 2 times I hunted with him. So you guys you're making some waves on the blue tick side. And, of course, Terry, you mentioned him, very knowledgeable blue tick man himself. And so it seems like there's a good core of people down there, even in Oklahoma, Texas, and that area, that are really doing some successful things with the breed.
Yeah, we're trying to get them on the map. It's hard to do. And you talk about those guys, those dogs are hunting. They're the style of dogs that hunts more like a Walker dog does. And get going, get through the country, but tree one right out of the truck also.
Yeah, no, I agree. But yeah, if you guys, we'll go ahead and wrap this up. If you guys got anything to add, I'd love to hear it.
Yeah, I did. He's had a 2024 that's just unbelievable.
Yeah.
I mean, all the winning he's done, and I just hope we can continue to do it. And we got him qualified for the TLC, of course, and we're the PKC breed race and the PKC state race coming up, and want to get him to all those.
Yeah,
for sure.
Zach, you got anything?
I think I'm good for right now, Josh.
Well, what I did want to tell you two guys is that when dogs win something like this, a lot of things that matters is how they win. That's what made Big Country so big, is how he won. And Zeke very much reminded me of that and the quality of the wins that he had. I mean, this dog just got by himself, treed coons, looked very, very good, and I was very impressed with the hound.
I appreciate that.
All right, fellas. I appreciate you guys joining me. We'll have to get together one night or one day in public or in person, and we'll maybe get the cameras out and get some footage of Zeke one night.
Okay, that'd be great. Appreciate it.
You should, y'all try to use that footage you had out of Oklahoma when he tried to eat you.
Yeah. You remember what I told Dalton whenever that dog tried to bite me? I said, I like that dog. I like a dog with a little spunk in it.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure that's what you told me Thursday night after the late round, too.
Yeah, that's exactly what I said.
Josh, what's crazy about that, and I'm not making excuses where that dog is not that in him nowhere. And it just, when Dalton told me that, I thought he was lying to me. I thought he saw seen you the video.
I've been dog bit by a lot worse dogs than that. I can promise you.
Yeah.
That one there didn't bother me too bad.
Yeah.
But congratulations, fellas, both of you on your huge win.
I appreciate that. Yeah, thank you, sir.
All right,
appreciate you, Josh.
Yeah, thank you guys.
Okay,
we'll see you. All right, ladies and gentlemen, that is Tree Dog Tuesday. That is Zach Boring and Eddie Green, and we thank you for listening.